Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Superficial Spirit. It is me, your favorite celebrity, Peter Breeze. And today I am doing my first episode on a nightclub that started it all. I mean, not including Calgary, Twisted Element, RIP. Not RIP, but we can talk about that later. But today's my first episode officially talking about the Odyssey. And I put out some feelers in the Odyssey Facebook group, which I think is called Remembering the Odyssey or something, to see if people would come on and share memories. And to my blessing from the gods, Mr. DJ Drew hit up my DMs and said he would be willing to share some of his experiences. So DJ Drew is here. Hi, Drew.
I'm so happy to be here, and yeah, no, when I saw your post, actually, someone sent me the post, and I said, well,
Oh,
I said I have to be part of this.
yeah.
And just so you know, I started that group in like 2006 when Facebook like was new, uh,
What?
and then some weird guy bought it from Will and I a long time ago. So, anyways, that's the story.
I okay, so speaking of like Facebook starting, I was going through our message history
Ooh,
in Facebook,
yeah.
and one of the first things I sent you back in like 2007 probably was like, I hate Facebook chat. And then I told you to add me to something. I don't know. It was like add me, and it was like my high school email, electric bubbles art. And I feel like it was a way for me to send you music or maybe Skype.
Oh yeah, we probably dealt with that quite a bit.
Yeah.
You and I did a lot. I mean, I think we forget some of it, but I mean, we even did the Commodore Ballroom once, I think. I have a poster that says your name in capital letters and then me in like size 10 below it.
Let it be known. Let it be
Yeah,
known. Okay.
yeah.
Well, before we actually hopped on to start talking, you and I were saying how the Odyssey is big for a lot of people, but it's funny when those years pop up unexpectedly. Like you shared on Grindr, sometimes people will message you and say like DJ Drew, and I have that for sure when people are like, buy me a drink, and I feel like they're in the car.
You're like,
Um,
no, you buy me a drink. Yeah,
Yes. Bring
yeah,
me up a Diet Pepsi to the mountain, please.
yeah.
Listen, I live on Burnaby Mountain. Nobody's coming up here. It doesn't matter how famous I think people are.
Really? It
I
sounds kind of
mean,
secluded, like, like mansions on a hill type vibe.
well, no. I mean, yes, let's let that
Okay,
illusion live out
we'll
there.
let
But
that.
do
Okay.
you find that with the Odyssey, like you run into people or this time of your life comes up in unexpected ways?
It does. And it's not just the Odyssey, it was everything, I continued on after, but the Odyssey was the anchor to everything to do
Yeah.
with my DJ career. If it wasn't for the Odyssey, I wouldn't be around. But yeah, it does pop up randomly. I think just the other day, my mom said she was on an Alaskan cruise and she ran into some people and she said her son worked at the Odyssey and they all lit up and they're like, DJ Drew? And like they were
Oh,
some old gay guys and they had fond memories of the Odyssey and I guess I mean, remembered. I mean, my name would be announced a lot. All the drag queens were really good about saying DJ Drew. I guess it was easy to remember.
it
Uh,
was easy to remember. And I feel like you were at the Odyssey every night. I was at the Odyssey every night, but I listen. I don't want to be shady because I don't know who else is going to come on the show. But you're the DJ I remember.
well,
I'm
I know my exact schedule. Like it, I was there a lot. I don't know if they do this anymore, but I think at some points I was there 6 days a week. And it got to a point where I was like, how do I like change up the music and keep this fresh? Because when you're at a venue 6 days a week,
the same songs. I mean, yeah. I don't think Odyssey was a place. Not that the music didn't matter; it mattered a lot. And actually, if you listen to my episode with Parker, um, we were talking about his party bimbo and how he does one in Montreal and Vancouver and Toronto, and how it's so rare now to find a queer party that's focused on like good, fun pop music because it's all very, and I feel like the Odyssey did a really good job of like giving people what they wanted musically and not being pretentious. Like you would just play Kesha or Teenage Dream or Bad Romance, and that was like, were you doing that on purpose? Was that a strategy or?
Well, I always approached DJ as a business, and so did the managers, by the way. They made it very clear that this was a place where you would have fun, but my goal was to pack that dance floor. And Ron Van Stroon, or whatever the manager, whoever the manager happened to be, would come up to me, and on a Saturday night, if it started to bleed, if it got empty, they'd say, "Drew, what's going on?" You know, because the dance floor at the Odyssey was like at least half the size
Yeah.
of the space. So if you empty that dance floor, you've now got half the club empty. So with regard to playing pop music, yeah, I call in terms of the we were in the golden age of anthems,
Uh,
right? Bad Romance, Beyonce, all that kind of stuff. And what's more was the remixes that brought them to life in the gay nightlife space. So we had like the Freemasons, Moto Blanco, and there were all these like highly energized, remixes that just totally transformed the song into something new. And that's actually what turned me on to the Odyssey in the first place, was this infectious house beat that was put on top of top 40 songs.
it was like remixes, but you didn't lose the lyrics. You could still know. I'm thinking of Disturbia by Rihanna, which
Disturbia, yeah.
Disturbia. Um, DJ Chufu was another person who did
DJ Chufu,
remixes.
yeah, DJ Chufu was a big one for sure. I don't
Yeah.
know if he did Disturbia, but
No, I don't know if he did Disturbia, but I remember the pop songs. I don't remember the DJs that remixed them, but you're right. It was the top 40 pop mixed with like remixes that made it, I guess, a little bit more.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I like what you said there about like keeping the lyrics or the chorus intact. So my procurement selection process when I found a song was, does it keep the essence of the actual song? Can people still sing along at the chorus, or does it completely? Because some house songs will strip the song away and
Yeah.
turn it into something, and it's like people just would be like, "What? This is
Yeah.
my
That's not
favorite
the same
song," but it.
subject.
So
I was always like, give me more, I would want to hear. And I would find a remix and it would be like a Britney, give me more remix. And you would hear like, it's Britney, bitch, like twice in the whole song. I'm like, that's not a remix, honey. That is just, anyway, before we get,
sometimes we would just play the straight originals, original extendeds, because
I,
they were good
yeah,
enough. Yeah,
I remember dancing to, it was like a midweek, not busy night, and Piece of Me was on by Britney. And I just
Piece of
remember,
Me. I can tell you the exact remix if anyone wants to know. I still have CDs actually with the Bimbo Jones did the remix for Piece of Me. That was like a powerhouse. You played that on, and the bass bins would start to heat up, and the place would rumble, and it with the first vocal part would go, "You want a piece of me," then.
oh my God.
So
Also,
you're giving
Bulletproof.
me chills right now just talking about it.
Good. That's right, baby. Bulletproof by LaRue.
Yeah, Bulletproof by LaRue, that was a big one.
Yeah. Bleeding Love by Leona
Fiona
Lewis.
Lewis, yeah, I think the Moto Blanco remix is the one we played there.
Obviously Gaga, and we'll talk about Gaga more later on. But Gaga, like Poker Face, that was, I feel, Odyssey got Gaga in Just Dance. Oh no, we did have Bad Romance, so we must have closed down right in that era, right? Bad
No,
Romance.
no, we got Bad Romance, and we got at least 2 years of it.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, the Odyssey closed in 2010.
okay.
I don't know if we looked at when exactly the music came out, but yeah, I specifically remember Bad Romance, and me and the other DJ would constantly try and figure out who has the better mix and
Uh,
what version do we play.
we would me Jared Reed would do the choreography on the stage like every time, just like such a iconic song, and the perfect time to be like mid-20s, honestly, like in the club with those pop stars. Like, to your point about anthems, now I think we're at the age now where we say, when we were at the club, honey, the music was so much better. But I don't know, I don't even think Gen Z is going to the club anymore. And I feel like for people who are listening now, I assume most people who are listening are tuning in to hear stories about the Odyssey. But for people who aren't, let's set the tone for what the Odyssey was for people who maybe have never been there. How would you describe the Odyssey?
Okay, well, uh, when I was a certain age, uh, maybe 19, maybe 18, um, I first approached the Odyssey. I was not a DJ there, obviously, uh, and I was just overwhelmed. First off, you had two entrances. You had the front entrance, the back entrance, and they had huge lineups, like lineups that make any lineup now look like child's play. The
Yeah.
lineups were just enormous, and you would hear this thump, 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 thump. And then if the door opened a bit, you'd look in and you'd see these lights scanning across the room, and you'd just see a sea of people just passionately dancing. No one really was on their cell phones. People were just engaged in the moment. If you're at the back entrance, there was a patio, as we all know, or maybe not the people listening. There was a patio, and you could smoke and drink on the patio at one point. So the back entrance was there would be a long lineup, and then you would see a sea of people drinking and smoking, and then hearing that pulsating beat, and just there was just so much energy going on. It was. Um, I became obsessed with that place at the
Yeah.
age of 18. I wanted, it was like my dream to be involved with that place. I can't tell you how much I wanted to be a part of that venue.
Yeah.
Um, uh, how else do I describe it here? It was the hottest place. It had this energy to it. It wasn't the sexiest bar, right? Like it wasn't like newly renovated and it didn't smell like pristine. It was a bit worn down, but it was like the place. I don't know. You know what? I watch a lot of Studio 54 documentaries, and I go, I think Odyssey was Vancouver's Studio 54.
Oh my God, I love that. Listen, well, I this is the comparison I would give to Studio 54. So I moved to Vancouver in 2006, I think. And I lived in on Wall Street in East Vancouver, and I had a gay landlord who used to invite me over to his house, and like we would smoke pot, and he was like, don't go downtown, like all those gays are snobby and they're all cokeheads. And I'm like, that sounds honestly like fabulous, that's where I want to go. And I went to celebrities, and I remember hearing about the Odyssey and going there for the first few times and seeing that lineup from like the front entrance. At that point I didn't know about the back entrance, and just waiting so long by myself in line. And then you would see these like young, I mean, I was young, but I guess younger or more popular twinks who would show up and like just go in front of the line. They would see Dale, RIP Dale. And I
John the Culture.
remember,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember feeling like this was the first time I had seen club culture like that, where there was a hierarchy. There was people in line and there was people who could get in, and it blew my mind. So like Studio 54, maybe not as, we didn't get the celebrities. Well, we got some, but that like waiting outside and sort of like trying to figure out how you would get in was hard.
You mentioned that very appropriately. There was a privilege-based hierarchy system, and that was part of the allure was access. And there were so many different tiers of access. Actually, there was a VIP program that had four tiers. I think it was blue, gold, silver, and or
What?
there was, yeah. And that's how a lot of people, if you didn't perform there, got in. Uh, they actually had a system, and it had your photo on it. I can bring up the photo of mine. I had it for about 1 month, and then I started working there, so I didn't need it.
But how did this system work? I actually didn't know about this. So tell me
So
how.
it was an invite only system. So nowadays, when you think of VIP, you think of I'm going to go and buy my VIP popcorn at Cineplex. This was not like that. This was invite only from management. You would go up to the office, and either it was Ron Van Stroon had the only authority to issue them, who was the manager at the time, the long manager of 25 years. He would use one of those Polaroid cameras, and for any
Oh,
of you that doesn't know what that is, it shoots out an actual photo right when you take it. He would then cut around your photo, and he'd put it in a thing and laminate it, and then you had this little card. And depending on your tier, it gave you access to either skip lineup, not pay cover, or bring friends with you, and all that kind of stuff.
it's like a Costco membership, like getting
But you
like.
cannot buy it. It's invite
Yes,
only.
yes, invite only. Okay, so thinking about that, what kind of people would Ron invite typically?
Oh, it was a whole mix of people. I think at one point I heard that the VIP program consisted of 250 people. And keep in mind, this doesn't include anyone who performs there or. Uh, so this would be, I mean, anyone from, I don't know, who had those cards. The regulars had the cards. The people that really were there, the bar stars had the card.
Our stars, right? Yeah,
Bar
I
stars
mean,
had the card.
I guess he probably found people who were there all the time and wanted to reward them or incentivize them to keep
It,
going.
it, it
Like,
was a wonderful way of doing a nightclub. In fact, I think I even pitched it to other clubs as when the Odyssey closed because it's a loyalty program.
it's insane. I mean, I think every club has VIPs and like that kind of experience, but not cards. And when I don't know how I ended up getting the VIP because it was before I started performing. Honestly, I was probably just fucked up and harassing somebody. Or maybe it was meeting Matt Munn at the door and he introduced me to Dale or something. Like, I don't know how, but I certainly didn't have a card. But I remember Ron would say, when you want to come, text me. Like, I think that was his thing. You can be on guest list, but you have to ask. You can't just show up. Let me know if you're coming, and I'll tell you if you can go on the list. And I would remember I would like, hey, can I get on the list? And he would say yes. And then I was like, can me and my friend get on the list? And then like 5 years later, I'm like, I'm coming with 10 people. I'll be there in 5 minutes. Like,
Well, at
so
that point, you probably had carte blanche and you could do whatever you wanted, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that
Um,
was yeah.
the part of the access doesn't even end with the VIP system. What's so intriguing about the Odyssey, and to further paint a picture, was it was like a little mouse maze. Okay, so you had like I said, the patio, and then you had this entrance with a divider wall, and then you had elevated areas, and then you had the huge dance floor, and then the dance floor is multi-tiered. And then you had all the areas that you had to. So you had to wait in line up to go to the washroom. You had to wait in line up to buy a drink. You had to wait in line up to go to the patio, and then the second level of VIP that, if you unlocked that, was you got access to the backstage areas. So I'm sure you know about that famous staircase, the
Oh my.
famous staircase that goes all the way up, and then you can overlook the whole Odyssey. That was another special component. What club has that where you can literally get a bird's eye? Like literally, we're talking 30 feet, 40 feet, the mezzanine level, and it was a code you had to enter.
I remember when I got the codes. Yeah, dangerous to give me the codes to the Odyssey,
If
but
you got the code, that was like you didn't need a VIP card anymore. That was like
oh
the
yeah.
final code. That was the final like.
I mean, I there was a point. This is probably going towards the end of the Odyssey, but I didn't quite realize how far back and up and sideways that back area went because you start in the staircase and then you go to the like where the go-go boys are and then there's the office where Will would be and
Yeah.
then there's like attic spaces. So
Oh, it
that's
went
what
on and on.
it went on and on. I feel like when I describe the Odyssey, I'm not just talking about a club. Like it was our community. It was where I started performing and you would play my songs. But it was also this like treehouse almost of like
It
where you
was a treehouse. Yeah.
yeah, you could be with your friends and like stay all night, explore. It didn't feel like a club. It felt like a special place that you went. There's a place downtown.
Where
It
the dun, 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 dun. Is that
was
That's Kesha, right?
yeah.
Yeah. No, Odyssey was very. I'm just going to use the word magical.
Yeah.
And I tried to talk to club owners, like Junction when I got involved there, and I tried to convey the importance of this. Um,
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
it's hard to recreate something like that.
So you mentioned you in discovered the Odyssey and it was your dream to be involved.
Oh,
And you
was it
hadn't
ever?
yeah, and you didn't have any DJ experience. So how did you start and then how did you end up with such a long residency there?
So, um, I had a background in technology, doing like website, video graphics, and lighting. So I thought maybe I can help them out with this. And one of my first things that I did was I actually helped the lovely Joni, aka Robert Kaiser, with she had a show, and we'll talk about the night. It was every Sunday, called Feather Boa,
Yes.
and she decided that she wanted to start incorporating video with her numbers, meaning there would be a video screen in the back, and then for some numbers there would be a synchronized video track in the back, and it would be maybe humor based or comedic or something like that, or it would just be creative. So that my first job was actually putting together these. There were DVDs. If anyone doesn't know what that is, that's like a disc that has multimedia
If
on
they
it.
don't know what a DVD is, please just go to the next podcast. This isn't for you.
So it was DVDs, and it was preparing these for Joni. And unbeknownst to me, Joni was a very big deal, right?
Yeah.
So you get to know Joni, and you've already got a bit of an in. Um, I don't know if I want to admit this. I actually prayed to DJ at the Odyssey. I did. Um, I got gigs. I was so lucky and appreciative to get gigs at like Numbers and Pump Jack, and I was at Numbers, but I wanted the real deal. Odyssey was the real deal in 2005 till its
And
closing.
beyond. Wait. I want to go back to the praying thing because this podcast started as like a exploration on pop culture and spirituality, and I can talk to my faces blue about how there's a spiritual component to nightlife because you are part of something greater than yourself. You kind of like it's extreme presence. You're dancing, you're meeting people. For queer people, we're expressing ourselves for the first time, and you're sort of pushing the boundaries of identity and sexuality and partying, drugs, alcohol, all of that.
It's
So
everything. Yeah.
yeah, transformational. So when you say pray, do you mean literally like, dear God, Lord in heaven, Jesus Christ? Tell
Uh,
me about that. Like, was it one time? Was it ongoing?
I don't know what it was about this venue. It wasn't just the people. It was the people. It was the physical space. It was the vibe, the energy, the aura. I wasn't getting enough with Numbers Cabaret and the other venues. I know I wasn't tapping into like the bread and butter, right? So I had this philosophy where if you manifest something enough, the world will give it to you. So that involves lots of introspection and thinking and going, okay, I'm gonna get this. I'm deserving of this. I want this, and and I would actually visualize walking into the DJ booth on my first set and feeling uncomfortable and looking and being elevated, and that's kind of cheesy, but I actually
I'm
did.
obsessed with this.
But here's what happened is I got involved, right, doing these videos, and I got in with management. Ron, at the time, before Will was involved, I loved Will as well. Ron was really loved me, okay? Like he would come pick me up at my place, my mom's place, because I still lived with my parents, because I was helping them now redo their lighting and video. And he sat me down one day. The bar was closed. It was during the day. And he said, Drew, I really like you. And if there was going to be another DJ here, it would be you. But I'm going to be really honest with you, Drew. It's probably not going to happen because we are really loyal to our DJs. We have DJ Jules and DJ Mike, and they've both been here for more than 2 decades, and we're not going to bump them off. So, for your own sanity, I want you to manage your expectations.
Wow.
But I pushed forward, and I still kept envisioning that. Um, and then one day, I remember exactly where I was, what time of day it was. My phone rang, and it said Ron Van Struin, and it was like a Motorola Razor because that's what we had back then.
That was a cool phone. It still is. It's like
Of
they
course,
brought that back, didn't they? Like the Razor
yeah,
was.
yeah. I think they brought back flip phones. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
So I get this phone call, and the moment it rang, we didn't have anything kind of going on in the what we were working on. So this was an unusual phone call out of the blue to get from Ron. In the back of my head, I kind of knew that this was a special phone call. So I'm like shaking, and I answer the phone, and goes, hey Drew, this is Ron Van Strom calling. Every time I go out skiing, for the weekend, and I leave the bar to Mitch. Something goes wrong. Um, Turns out DJ Mike had a bit of a temper tantrum, and Mitch fired him. And Jules is also out of town for a DMS function in Alberta or whatever. Can you DJ this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
Oh my God.
I'm not kidding you. I'll look you right in the camera. That's exactly what he said. It wasn't starting on a Tuesday night. It was I was thrown right into the fire.
Holy shit.
Uh, my response, I had bookings at Numbers, but I said yes.
Oh my, what did you say to Numbers?
uh, well, Tom Kasaka got me involved at Numbers, and I'm still best friends with Tom Kasaka, even business partners in some ventures. He currently manages Fountainhead Pub, if anyone doesn't know. Uh, he knew that that was like my non-negotiable thing. Like
Yeah.
if he knew me enough to know that if that happened, I mean, I made sure the Numbers was covered, right?
Yeah.
But I took on the nights, and yeah, it.
Do you remember the first song you played?
I believe I do actually.
What was it?
I believe it was a remix because Odyssey, and I always used to tell this to Jules. When you DJ'd there, you told a story. You didn't just play music. So it's all about timing when you're going to play songs. So when you start, Odyssey had a late start. Most DJs start at 10 p.m. Odyssey would start at 11, but you would still, the first hour was kind of warm up territory. In other words, we used the term blow your load. You didn't want to blow your load too early when there's only like half capacity. So the first song I played was a remix of Technotronic Pump Up the Jam.
Uh,
I forget the remix, but it was this really like dun 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 dun, and it just and playing it. And Odyssey was a bigger club, bigger sound system. I was very nervous. Um, I had a lot to drink, but I got through the nights, and I took them very seriously. They were not. It was not just let's show up and have fun. It was very serious to me. Like I think if I bring up the photos and maybe I can send them to you after, I looked very serious. I have pictures of my first year there. I looked very serious in every photo. I don't think I smile in any photos because I was like, I need to keep the, you play one or two bad songs in a row and you will evacuate that dance floor. Not the Cascada song, but you will,
you ain't the dance floor.
yeah. Um, yeah, that was a very magical day. So DJ Mike unfortunately did have some issues with the bar, but I mean, nowadays who doesn't have an issue? So
Yeah.
um, I don't know if you want me to keep going here.
Well, yeah, I mean, with the you did the 4 days in a row, and then did you just
So then Jules came back into town, and now it was me and Jules. So Jules, of course, was the resident DJ at the time. A lot of people considered me to be his protege. And that was true because I spent a lot of time with Jules. Whenever I went to the Odyssey, I wasn't really dancing. I was mostly just hanging out. And at this time, you didn't even get to go in the DJ booth. You just get to lean on there was a door thing and you got to lean on
Oh
it.
my God,
And he would give me big stacks of his old CDs. And these were like the unedited, these were like the cuts he would use to play. And so it was me and Jules. I did like 2 days a week, and then I think it was two. We split one day, and then he did the rest of them.
okay.
A lot of people think my involvement with the Odyssey was because Jules passed away, but it actually wasn't. It was the sequence of me doing the production for them, and then DJ Mike kind of stepped out of the picture. I stepped in, and then this famous DJ Jules, unfortunately passed away, and that was a very sad time for all of us.
I remember when that happened. I didn't know DJ Jules personally, but hearing you talk, it just sort of reaffirms that nightlife for so many of us is it's more than a place to party. It is a place to party, but what you're describing is like an apprenticeship, and it's like there's a generational passing of the torch, and there's a sacred thing about being a DJ at a gay bar in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. Same with Joni. Like there's a reason why she is so celebrated, because those spaces for so long were the only places we could go. And if you were the one who could provide the music, it's it's so much more than just putting a set together, which is also very important and why you were so serious. But just hearing you talk about Jules and you coming in, it's like a mechanic who owns a shop training somebody to take over. You need to know what you're doing. You have to take it very seriously. It's a business. People rely on us. It's hard to put into words for people who don't rely on nightlife for that sense of self and that discovery and transformation. But that's what I hear when you tell that story.
No, it is a business, and there's the proper blend between being creative but also keeping the dance floor packed. Now, if I can talk about Ron again, this is what he would call me when I did a stellar job, and I don't think he'd have a problem with me saying this. He would say at the end of the night, "Drew, you were a dirty whore. You packed that dance floor so well. You're such a dirty whore. I like you." Uh, uh,
Sounds
uh,
good to me. I heard very similar things from him throughout the
because he wanted that dance floor packed,
year.
and you know, there's about 60 or 70 songs in a night, right? So if you have three bad songs in a row,
So wait, when you know, you'll have to remind me, because I did at some point cross the threshold from standing outside the DJ booth to coming in the booth with you.
yes.
Um, were you using CDs still?
Um, so at the no, no,
No.
no, no.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Wait.
yeah, Jules was when I
Yeah.
was an outsider. He was using CDJs, and they were not hooked up to Serato or Tractor or any of that sort of equipment. So when I got involved, that was just kind of the time when people were bringing in their MacBook Pros
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and DJing with that. So I did get that, but I
Yeah.
do have tons of old binders full of CDs.
That was probably do you know Betty Ford? Do you remember Betty?
Oh, of course,
She
I know Betty Ford.
Yeah, she when she would DJ, she had CDs. I remember like her with her headphone, and she'd be flipping through the book so fast, like trying to get them in. But the sort of era of laptop DJs where people like turned up their nose. First, it was like going from records to CDs and then CDs to
Yeah.
MP3s, right? And they were like, "You're not really a DJ. You don't really know what you're doing." And now it's like completely common for, you open a laptop. I mean, I don't know exactly what you plug into what, but that was like also the evolution of how people DJ'd at clubs, that transition.
Yeah, it's definitely evolved, and now it's evolved even further. I'm trying to look for my keychain. Now people walk in with a singular USB key, and that's all they need: their headphones and a USB key.
So when you put in the USB key, that is the DJing software?
No, so that contains just all the MP3s. So nowadays in nightclubs, you have these gargantuan things called Pioneer CDJ 3000s.
Okay.
And they're called Pioneer CDJ 3000s because they cost $3,000 each. And you need at least two of them minimum. And they've got a big screen on them. They're essentially like mini laptops in themselves. They've got a mini screen. They've got a place to put in multiple USB sticks, and then you can scroll through. You can even touch screen and do a search.
Wow.
Um, so it's really evolved.
So you're not showing up with your own equipment anymore. You're just showing up with your USB.
It depends. I'd say it's about a 50-50 split at this point. I'd say, based on my observations as of 2026, 50% will bring in their laptop because there's still a lot of power you get out of having a laptop.
Yeah. I want to talk now about you and I working together, because I'm not going to talk too much about my personal journey at the Odyssey. I think as I do these interviews, it will come out. But what do you remember about your first maybe encounter with me?
Okay, I'm going to be honest. Do you want me to be
Okay.
honest?
Yes.
Um, so I back in my early 20s, like being 21, 20 when I started at the Odyssey, I was kind of arrogant. And I'm still arrogant. I think we all have to work on our ego. That's a daily practice. I remember, and it was Ron. At this point, it hadn't switched over to Will. It was Ron. And I believe your representative was Starlin Gold.
Oh my God. I
Was it? Am I
forgot
correct
about
on
that.
that one?
Starling Gold was my manager.
All,
Yes.
all I know was I showed up on it was a Saturday night. Okay, now I the Saturday nights were like the flagship night, right? And it was like 10:30, and I showed up, and I'm like the hot shot, and I don't know how to manage my ego at this point. And Ron comes up to me and says, what I got, and it was Starling Gold was there. He said, "This Peter Breeze is going to be doing some numbers today." And this was highly unusual for Saturday. We didn't do drag on Saturday. It was just the DJ. So I was like, all of a sudden, what? I have to play 4 songs? I don't even, who the fuck is Peter Breeze? Um, I don't think we knew each other at this point.
Yeah.
Um, but
Wow.
and I didn't even get to interact with you. It was your representative or your
Oh my
agent,
God. I
Starling
wonder.
Gold,
Starling
and
Gold. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Sorry.
I had a small little argument with him because I was always I was so obsessed with preserving the continuity of music. So to have someone to be able to just come in and carte blanche and have their songs played was like a big red flag to me. So I really, to be honest, I fought it the first night.
I came up against that a lot in my early days in nightlife just because there wasn't a lot to my knowledge at that point, like doing music the way I was not happening in the Vancouver scene. So there was drag, but yeah, it was new and also pretty disruptive because, like you, ego, I was 100% sure I was Britney, Madonna, anybody. So I remember like convincing Ron to let me do a Saturday night, and then later Will let me. It felt like winning the lottery. I could not believe that in my life I was performing my own songs at a club, at the club in Vancouver.
D
It
Club.
was the club, and it was such a it was so validating, like personally, but it really did elevate what people thought of me, because there's one thing being like fucked up at a club and being like, I'm famous, like I got music.
Uh,
And there's another thing like getting on stage and hopefully showing people that you can do something. Um, and it was, yeah, it was so meaningful, like to be like a kid in Calgary and dream of being a star and then performing at the Odyssey. It's like, oh my God, it's all coming true. Like similar to you. I didn't manifest the Odyssey specifically, but just that experience of being a pop
yeah,
star in a club. Yeah.
and you moved up quickly uh, in the period of those 4 years that I was a part of the Odyssey. You went from being the person who I initially resisted to the person I love to see. And I remember we worked on these productions where you're like, I want the opening part to have these blue lights going like this. And I'm like, okay, we can do that. And then when the chorus comes on, I want this to happen. And I mean, it was like a whole production, and Will McGuire was involved at this point. And at that point, you had just become a fixture. It was like a standardized process to have
Ah,
you involved. I think actually, if I may say, Will McGuire coined it pretty accurately. So Ron Van Stroon there was a guy named Bobby James who went by Bobby Bongo. He said, and that was kind of like an added on performer to the night. He said, Will said, Ron had Bobby and I have Peter.
ah,
I don't know if that makes you feel any better,
oh
but
my
you,
God. I just, it's so meaningful to me because there's one thing in the moment, like experiencing it, but it's been 20 years. So hearing that you remember it in that way and Will said those things because it's a
well,
blur.
Will liked you. He kept, I mean, you were there.
Yeah,
How often
you're
did you
often.
perform there? It was like,
It's a lot.
a
Yeah.
lot.
He was
Yeah.
very supportive. Yeah, that's where everything started for me, and I'm glad that we eventually bonded because I do also have very fond memories of you. Again, playing my song, like I was going through our Facebook chat history, and a lot of the messages back then were like, "Hey, can you play my song? Hey, can you play my song? Hey, I'm gonna be there. Can you play my song?" And you were like, "Yeah, I might. Like, I'll let you know." And then eventually you did it. I remember actually sometimes you would I'd be on the dance floor and you would play my song and you would put a spotlight on me. And that, I mean, listen, for somebody who was as self-obsessed as I was, playing my song on Saturday night with the spotlight on me, at a busy club. Like, listen, there's no returning from that.
No, there isn't. And I came from a theatrical production background, so if and knowing, and you did too, I think, because you took it very seriously as
Yeah,
well. You
yeah.
came up to me and you said, I'm really concerned about the lighting, how I'm going to be entering the stage. I need to make sure the songs are played in this order, and I need this track to start here. Like you, it was very calculated, and we actually were there during the day rehearsing, I think.
Oh yeah. Oh, I tell people all the time, like going to the Odyssey during the day was a trip. It smelled like bleach. It's like they hosed everything down after we left.
You host everything.
They had to. I remember going there the first time. Holy shit! Why does it smell like this?
It has a very specific smell to it.
It did. I thought it was bleach. Maybe it was something
Oh, it's funny.
else. Speaking of pop stars, Miss Lady Gaga was around at this time. We
Yeah.
spoke about her at the beginning. So I remember this night. I'll start. I'm going to tell my version of the story, and then you tell your version of the story.
Okay. Yeah.
Gaga was in town playing the Commodore. So this was before she had even gotten to Rogers Arena.
Correct.
Oh, what is the Commodore? Like 2,000 people? 1,000 people? Like not very many.
Commodore Ballroom goes exactly 1,000
Okay.
capacity. Yeah.
I was the only person of my friends who did not get a ticket. I was so bitter. I was broke. I was popular, but I couldn't pay my rent. And so I was bitter. It was like a Wednesday night, and I stayed home. My friend Adam was like, let's maybe go for a drink at the Odyssey. And I'm like, I don't know, it's Wednesday. But it's around the time the concert was ending. So like Jared and Matt and my friends were going. So we went. I didn't even want to get out of the car. I stayed in the car. Adam went in. I think we were going to pick something up and then go somewhere else, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And he came up to the car. He's like, Peter, Lady Gaga's inside. I was like, it's Wednesday. You're lying. You know that I'm being bitter. And he's like, I'm fucking serious. Lady Gaga's inside right now. And then looking at the doorman, and he's looking at me, and I'm like, is Lady Gaga inside? He's like, yes. So get out of the car, and I go in, and she's sitting in the booth, the middle booth between the two bars with her dancers. This was teacup era, so it was like short lavender wig, little teacup, round sunglasses, and there was nobody there. It was like maximum 30 people in the bar, and it was so surreal because she was on the rise. She was so famous. Poker Face was like doing its thing, and it was like my brain broke. We stayed there. I talked to her. She went to the patio, smoked. It was like smoking joints. She was on the stripper pole, and I remember seeing her in the booth with you for a while.
I have that picture right now if you want to see that.
Show. Oh my God, it's framed. Oh my God.
It's not a drag queen, I swear. It's Stephanie Giramata. Yeah.
Oh, you got to say, who took that picture? Mine is so, like, I think I took mine with a BlackBerry. It's so fuzzy. It's so fuzzy.
I think one of the people was one of the staff was off at the time who had one of those digital cameras, and thankfully I got that picture taken. This picture had circulated a lot.
Yeah. Tell me about how that happened. Like, did they tell you she was coming? When did she come
Okay,
to the
so
booth?
this is exactly how it went down in a nutshell. You're right. It was a mundane. I think it was a Wednesday or Tuesday night. It was not a spectacular night, and it was not even a busy night. Normally, the weekdays were very busy, but this was a very calm night. And I know, and she was popular at the time. Yes, she only had the one album, but she had like Just Dance, Poker Face, and I think like that had Paparazzi and a whole bunch of other hits.
Yeah.
Was Paparazzi on that album?
Paparazzi was on that album, but the single was Poker Face.
So I think we were just at Poker Face at that time. But I mean, she had gone critical mass at that point.
Oh, yeah.
She was popular. Like she was the number one.
Yeah.
So again, going back to the cell phone, I think it was like a BlackBerry or a Motorola. And an individual many people know, Tommy D, messaged me. And he said, hey, Drew, I'm with Johnny Staub and Lady Gaga is going to be coming. I need you to communicate with the door staff.
I didn't know Tommy was a part of this.
I remember this. You can fact
He's
check
going to
with
love
him.
this. He's coming on the show next week, so I'll have to know that. Yeah.
I had the same reaction as you. I said, yeah. okay, sure,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, sure, she's coming. I think I had to step outside of the bar and do a phone call briefly, and he said, "Drew, I'm not kidding. Like, she's coming with an entourage of dancers. She made it very clear she wants, and this is verbatim, she wants to go to a gay bar that smells like urine." And of course, Johnny Staub and Tommy D collectively decided that that candidate would be Odyssey. And so I was like, okay, okay, I've never really prepared for a celebrity to come to the club before, but I went up and I told everyone, tell everyone, that scene from, I told everyone. And then about 40 minutes went by, and I was just like, is this going to happen? I don't know. It could just be whatever. But the front door swung open, and about six black guys and some other people came in, and then a shorter girl came in, and that was Lady Gaga.
Very short, very short.
Yeah, a lot of people are not aware of her height. She's a
She's like
nice,
5'2". Yeah, she's very,
yeah, she's very short,
yeah.
and it was undeniably Lady Gaga.
And what
Uh,
happened? Like, did she come in and immediately sit down? Like, I remember there was, it's not really a VIP section for people who haven't been there, but it's like a booth, and they can put the, not the
Yeah,
Velcro.
I know what you're talking. You're talking. It was elevated, and it
Yes,
kind of had the thing, and it was positioned at a point where you could see the dance floor and the bar. You're like center stage. If there was bottle service, that would be like
yes, exactly.
the primary package. Yeah. She walked in and she took her time. She didn't just come for like 20 minutes. She was there for like 2 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
She was there a long time.
she was there for a long time. Of course, uh, my reaction was I was like just like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. I remember I thought it would be appropriate. Oh, she's here. I better play her music because she's here. So I remember just hitting stop on the song that was currently playing. I'm like, and I hit play on like Just Dance or something, and it was like it turned into a Lady Gaga night. I played
Yeah.
her entire album, and
When you played it, did she react?
um, I think even at that time she had been pretty accustomed to the treatment. But my interaction with her at the DJ booth was a nice man named Paul Harrison. This is what he claims. I don't know if it's true. He said that he sent her, because she was drinking white wine, he sent her a white wine and said, it's from the DJ. Anyways, I was in the DJ booth doing my thing. I was still like aware of the situation, but I was kind of like in shock, to be
Did you
honest.
also still play music and focus?
Yeah, but in hindsight, I'd fucking put on a playlist and just go hang out with
Oh
Lady
yeah,
Gaga
yeah,
on a Wednesday night. I don't care. I'm sorry,
yeah,
but uh, so I remember the way the DJ booth was oriented at my laptop. I was facing away from the door, and I had this pet peeve of people slamming the door open. Because people would do that to put the DJ booth was used as a coat check for the VIPs essentially. You probably put your coat
Oh
names
yeah. I
in. Yeah.
slammed that shit. Yeah, I slammed it
so
for sure.
so I'm looking at the computer. I'm already anxious because Lady Gaga's in the presence, so I'm like shaking. And then the door slams, and I'm like, "Who the fuck?" And I turn around, and it's Lady Gaga, and she's there to thank me for this beverage that was given to her on behalf of me.
Oh
And
my
she came
god.
into the booth and we had a short exchange. And she was such a lovely, kind, down to earth person.
Yeah. She also went to the stripper pole, right?
Oh, she most certainly did. There's photos. I have photos in the archives.
You need to send that. Wait, what archives? Like your personal archives? Or
Yeah,
is
yeah.
this
I got tons of photos.
okay?
I can send you the photos after. I don't know if you can
I
put
need
them
to
in.
come over and like go through every single one and like see how far back do they go?
I've got all the way back. I've got so many photos of the Odyssey. They go back to the very beginning of my involvement. Oh, and then I was given a lot of VHS tapes. And for the Gen Zers that are listening, that's a cassette that retains video that
Oh my
plays in the
god.
background. And
Uh,
I had to do edits and stuff. So
Yeah, the Lady Gaga night was iconic. It comes up in my memories on Facebook often. Like I said, my picture is very blurry. And I mean, I've told this story, so I don't mind saying it again, but we were all kind of not in the booth, but like near the back door where you could sort of like go over and like talk to her, and everybody was kind of like taking their turn, taking a picture and talking to her. And of course, my only question to Lady Gaga was, "Do you want to come do a bump with me?"
Of course, what a great way to build camaraderie with someone you don't know.
Right. And she was like, "I can't, but can you find me a joint?" And I'm like, "Who fucking smokes weed? That's so lame."
But you were put on a mission to go find a joint.
I didn't find it. Somebody did. And then I remember her being outside and smoking a joint. But again, like I know that celebrities go to bars, obviously now in 2025. I don't think that's changed. But if you think about social media and the way phones are, because we had Blackberries, but even then you weren't at the bar posting on Facebook. You would like take pictures and then upload them when you went home. So celebrities could still have not complete anonymity because she's famous and she was doing her thing. But now, if Lady Gaga went to a bar, immediately it would be online and there would be no chill, right? It would
It, it,
spiral so quickly.
it would go hockey puck,
Yeah,
critical mass. Yeah, people
yeah,
would be doing live streaming, and 1,000 photos would emerge online.
I agree. Um,
I mean, back then the phones, like you said, the Blackberries, you didn't get good resolution, right? They're very
no,
crappy quality.
yeah.
Um, Text messaging was just becoming a thing,
Oh
you know.
my God, text messaging. Yeah, the fact that that was new. Joni also remember. I'm trying to get Joni on the show, by the way. Joni, please, dear God, I've been asking her. She's yes, she's no, but we're cultivating that. But she said Tiffany, the pop star before Britney, 80s Madonna time, would come to the Odyssey as well and sing, but
I
also
think
to hook
we're
up.
alone now. Like,
We're alone now. Yeah.
yeah,
Popstar Haven. Also very classic gay bar, right? That's where a lot of female icons would go and feel like they were with their people. So hopefully Gaga remembers that, although I'm sure she's been to every gay bar in the world by now.
yeah. She certainly she went from yeah.
Yeah.
She went up a few levels there.
So we've covered a lot, and we could keep going. But one of the things that I think is important to talk about when you're considering nightlife is sobriety, alcohol, drugs, a big part of all of our journeys. Anybody who met me back then, I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, y'all know what was going on with me. I loved partying. I thought it was, I just was always having the best time. But there's a balance, right, with drinking and drugs, and I think with people all over the world, but specifically with queer people, we form our own unique relationships with it. So you've been open about your sobriety, and
Yeah.
what's your journey been with that?
Yeah, my sobriety, I have no issue talking about that. You know, back then it was commonplace to drink in the bar, and it was commonplace to drink a lot. I just want to highlight at the Odyssey, when you ordered a single, you got a double, maybe even a triple.
Oh yeah,
So, do you remember that? They would just overpour.
uh,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it's really easy. So if you're there 5 days a week and you get 5 or 10 drink tickets, I mean, that's a recipe for a lot of drinking, and that's fine. Maybe in your 20s. I didn't really have an issue with drinking. Initially, I didn't think I had an issue, but then when I got into my 30s, things started layering up and getting kind of a bit out of control. I mean, when the Odyssey closed, yeah, it was really sad, but I actually, because of the Odyssey, I was able to move on. I DJ'd at Celebrities, like 3 days a week, Junction 3 days a week, Numbers 2 days a week, Commodore. Like I was always DJing, always. And yeah, it just totally escalated, and drinking was so normalized. And then, of course, other drugs like cocaine it was no one would even like consider, like it was management approved of it. They're
yeah.
like, oh, Drew's just. So yeah, no, it can catch up with you. Um, I've seen it take out a lot of people, so it's something you have to be aware of. I'm happy to be sober now, almost 8 months. It's thank you so much. Yeah, it
Not easy.
no, it's not easy, and it's not just about leaving drugs and alcohol. It's about changing your identity, right? So, I DJ'd full time all the way up until about COVID, and then COVID ended, and then I jumped back in again, and I couldn't really reintegrate it safely.
Yeah.
So I kind of had to minimize it. I still do DJ.
Hmm.
I DJ special events, corporate events, uh, but at this point, I'm not. I don't do any weekly gigs. I
Yeah.
mean, I did lasted a long time. Like I had a good 15-year run of doing full time DJ gigs on Davie Street. So many
That's a
people
good run.
many people don't get that opportunity. I'm very lucky to have had that.
Yeah, that is a huge, huge accomplishment. I mean, any type of consistency or longevity in nightlife is not only a testament to your talent and the what people liked, but mental health, physical health, like it affects the way you can have relationships because even if you're a sober person in nightlife, most of the people you're meeting are transient, right? They're coming in and out of the scene. Maybe they work in nightlife, they're drinking, they're doing drugs. So it's a very hard place to build a stable life. And I remember too, it was very normal to do drugs and drink. Um, encourage, I mean, maybe not encourage. It's not like they were like, you need to do the drugs now, but it was so common. And I've had similar experiences where you just feel like it's not sustainable. And for me, it was the identity thing. Like if you imagine Peter Breeze back then without partying, right?
Oh,
What that
yeah.
would be,
I
would
mean,
that
that was
even
kind of your. That was your. I mean, you were a great singer and you had catchy songs and you had a presence, but that was interconnected with the party brand. That was part of your brand.
it
It's
was
almost like
my brand.
like were you sponsored by Smirnoff? You know, uh,
I was sponsored by the guys at the back door. That's who I was sponsored by.
yeah, um,
But yeah,
yeah.
I
I would like to point out, drinking and drugs has, in my opinion, has tapered out a bit in the scene.
yeah.
uh, the new generation is kind of sober curious, and like I did the New Year's gig even at a smaller place, Fountainhead, and the demeanor in the room was a lot different than it was in say 2010.
Mhm.
At one point, and this was like I think like right at like 11:30, so this is half an hour before New Year's. It almost felt like a library.
Wow.
People like back then, people would be trays of shots. It would just be just absolute chaos.
Yeah.
Everyone was really well behaved. The bartenders looked like they didn't have much going on.
Yeah. I've noticed
Uh,
that too I don't go out very often, but when I have, I've definitely noticed the glamorization of being messy is no longer the thing. Gen Z is not drinking, period. Like they like psychedelics. Millennials, we did like to drink, but yeah, there's been a huge shift. Huge, huge. Like it sounds like people are still going out, but they're not either having the need to do what we did or they're doing it in different ways. Like I also noticed there's a huge shift to like hookup culture and sex parties and prep is now a big part of everybody's lives. So maybe the expression, the connection is coming through ways that aren't at the bar necessarily. But that's a huge change from being like a messy generation that was celebrated either within each other or like the people we looked up to. Like Kesha's whole thing was being partying. That's
well,
what.
I mean, her song, "We're Gonna Die Young" was like essentially
Oh my
permission
god,
to
dude!
go absolutely nuts,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Let's make the most of the night because we're gonna
yeah,
die young. So
yeah,
like you're playing all these songs. I mean, there was the song "Shots," shot, 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 shot.
yeah,
So you had all these songs that essentially narrated that drinking was okay. And I'd also like to point out that yeah, you are correct. There is a decline in drinking, and that's I'm still involved in the food and beverage industry, and all the owners are really unhappy with this that the drinking has gone
yeah.
down. But the music has shifted. It shifted at approximately around 2019.
Okay.
And it went from this high energy anthem style into a more slower kind of vibey culture. And if anyone here uses Chat GPT, you can go fact check me, because I thought I just was not finding the right remixes, but music has shifted away from this like constant high energy anthem to a more vibey feel, like the Dua Lipa and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff that
Oh
has
yeah.
more of a consistency to it. Whereas when we played, it was like, if I were to use a metaphor, it was like, how do we have an orgasm every 20 minutes with
Yeah.
the music?
Totally.
That was like what my objective was. It was build, 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 edge, edge, build, build.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of been minimized a bit. Music is, but everything in life changes, right? So
Ebbs and flows. Although I will say, like recession pop or like everything comes back again. And what I've
yeah,
been noticing is like that era, there's a new messy girl trend happening with the younger generation about, smoking, looking like disheveled like we did back then. But now it's like nostalgic. The way we would dress like for the 80s, they're not doing the same things we did, but it's
wait, are we in the new 80s? Yeah.
no.
No, we're
Um,
not old. We're young forever.
how old are you now?
I'm 38.
Okay.
Now you have to tell me how old
I'm
you are.
40. I just turned 40.
Well, you look amazing. You actually, I don't know, you look like you haven't even aged at all.
Honey, I got the light brighter than the sun on my face right now.
Really? Well, you look
Well, I have a
great.
ring light, yeah, but
Oh, I have a ring light too. Maybe I should turn on the ring light. Yeah.
yeah. We've gone over a lot. We didn't talk about the end of the Odyssey,
The end of
and
the Odyssey.
that was that night. That was so sad. Like I again, like going back to my point about it's hard to articulate why a bar meant so much to so many people. And I remember there was a lot of back and forth with the city. Like, are they going to close it? Are they not? I know Joni was out there doing her thing, like at City Hall. Shame, shame. Like getting them to. Essentially, they wanted
Yeah, we went to City Hall quite a few times.
like imagine going to City Hall to save a damn bar. That's how much we cared.
We
But
did. We went. We did. Everyone. It was a huge. We actually rented a school bus to go there to take
I didn't
all
know
the
that.
staff and the drag queens. Everyone. Yeah.
Tell me about going to City Hall. I didn't actually go, but tell me about that.
So the city hall at this point, the uh, the location at 1251 Howe was going to close, and that was not disputed. So we were then looking at places to relocate to, and I believe it was 911 Denman Street. I could be wrong, but it was above. It was an Indian restaurant that had closed, and it met all the criteria we needed. The owners, which at the time, which were Michael Levy, Billy Beland, Peter Allard, uh, Michael Levy and Billy Beland decided that they obviously wanted the Odyssey to continue. I mean, it was really profitable. So they found a property. They spent a lot of money. I was even involved in this consulting process because I did their lighting design and stuff. And then it came time to apply for the liquor license, and that's where City Hall was involved. And ultimately, City Hall rejected the Odyssey's application because of its proximity to residential. So they were really they were really. I mean, nightclubs were notoriously loud, obnoxious, and caused disruption. In fact, at the Odyssey, I had something called a dB meter in the DJ booth, which would tell me what my sound level was, and it would blink red when I went over. And I had to turn it down. We had to keep within a certain sound limit. Otherwise, the neighbors would complain, and then the sound police would come. And the sound police are not fun people to have around. But anyways, the Odyssey closing, I don't think I will ever go through something. I don't know if it was my age or if it was because it was such a special place, but uh, the final night was very special. Again, there is a video clip. I think you're actually dancing on the final song. It was "Bow Down, Mister." You remember that?
I mean, I remember dancing. I don't remember the final song, but I remember the night. Yeah, y'all.
That was like the theme song of the Odyssey closing, and there was a speech by Will McGuire pledging that the Odyssey will reopen, and actually it did at one point. That's maybe another episode.
Yeah, that is another episode.
But yeah, it was really sad. It was really sad.
Yeah.
Very sad.
It was the night I feel like you could write a movie about the final night of the Odyssey. Um
It was the final week because it was like the final Tuesday, the final Wednesday, the
right.
final Thursday. And you know what? As the nights went on, the bar started looking really, really crappy because we started just going to town with it.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
I had pieces, I had posters, like there Ron had made me a few signs, Peter Breeze signs.
yeah,
I had those.
styrofoam.
Styrofoam, yeah. I mean, who does that? Like, I didn't, by the way, did not ask for that. That's something that he made.
I had my own DJ Drew sign. I
Yeah,
don't know, is it in this? Yeah, you can kind of see it there. I had my own little 3D styrofoam
yeah.
sign. Yeah.
So the last night was yeah, truly magical. I feel like it's the type of party people write into movies. Like I had glitter bombs. I was not bombs, like basically bottles of glitter. I remember Janet Jackson Together Again playing, and we all like kind of like held hands. Like
It was. I think we were crying.
yeah,
Um, the entire last. So the final night was on a Sunday with Feather Boa and Robert Kaiser Joni closing out the night, and it's all on YouTube. You can watch it, and it's pretty intense
yeah.
viewing. Uh, a lot of people were in the room. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, very special. And honestly, like to your point, it did open again. Maybe we can revisit that, but there is something
No, it didn't. It didn't reopen, but okay.
not the same way. They tried, Rich. They tried.
Yeah.
There's something about, something being really special and it stopping and everybody not wanting it to stop, but it stops anyway, and you just look back with such fond memories, like when Friends ended and nobody was ready, but it was the perfect time.
You
And
know what? I couldn't agree with you more. I would rather have it ended on a high note than have it because clubs went in a massive transitional. As you know, they've been in a massive transitional phase. I'm glad that it ended on a high.
yeah, same. Okay, let's listen. We've talked for an hour and 6 minutes. I think we will continue this conversation at some point, but thank you for being my first official guest talking about the Odyssey, sharing all your stories. It's been, yeah, I feel like I was transported in time. So thanks, Drew, for coming on.
Me too, and thank you. It was really cathartic. It's you don't get to talk to many people who understand this experience. So thank you for having me.
Honey, I understand. This is just the beginning of the journey of looking back.
Okay, well I'll spread the word, and
Yes,
we can talk. We can talk more.
thank you.